best infection.
The next generation.
A podcast where we talk about pointy ears again.
Here we are. The dark days of the Harlequin and meta continue. We are coming to you live, or possibly not so live for the majority of you, from the pit of despair, to be precise. Meta's borked. Listen to Fight Club if you want to hear exactly how borked it is. But this is not the podcast full of negativity. This is the podcast of doing well in the face of adversity. So, we've got events coming up. We got real big events. We've got next weekend, Lukas and Naj are going to be at Tau Tipping in Hoquiam, Washington. You'll hear more about that a little bit later. They are going to bring the heat there. It's a GT. It'll be 5 rounds. I myself will be at a major Badger Brawl, which is theoretically a major. It's got 6 rounds. We'll see how many players end up showing up, or if major even means anything anymore. That'll also be next weekend, which means in 2 weeks, not 1, not 3, but 2 weeks, we will be back bringing y'all some incredible tournament recap content, or maybe we'll just get flattened by Harlequins every game. We do have 16 games that we're going to be trying to cover in that singular episode, so we're going to try to hit the ground running. So we are going to talk in this episode about what we're bringing, what some of our list choices are, and then we're going to sort of divulge into a whole bunch of Harlequin nonsense, try to figure out how to play the game in April of 2022, while we are still a full month away from a balanced data slate. With that all being said, let's bring it back to the present. Lukas, my good man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I went with Nick, and we hung out at Max's yesterday, and we played an absolute ton of Warhammer. I watched a Harlequins versus Borkan game, which I'm sure Nick is going to talk about in a sec because he was playing Harlequins. And then I also watched a Tau versus Custodes game. So it was really fun, actually, to see STR armies battling it out. Because when STR armies play STR armies, it genuinely looks like a fun, interesting game for the most part. And when ATR armies battle ATR armies, same thing. But it's just in mixing them where things get very depressing. So just going there and hanging out and watching those games was pretty fun. Yeah.
What about when B tier armies like orcs play other armies? How's that?
Orcs are bottom of A tier, sir. Show some respect. Show some respect. I rolled 3 dice with you the other day.
You did. You rolled an entire 3 dice. That Lukas and I played a half turn game. I have had people resign earlier than that, but not by much. All right, Naj, how's it going? Yeah.
He told me about that. Yeah, good. It's going well. What have I been up to? I've been playing, taking the Necrons out for a spin a little bit. I know we talked about, I guess we haven't talked about it yet, that tournament that we went up to, the old generation versus the next generation. I'm sure we'll talk about it more. But I got to play my Necrons there, some games in the tournament, some games outside of the tournament. Super fun. Just playing that list again. I've also been testing out Harlequins a lot. I think I mentioned a little bit last episode. I picked up a Harlequins lot like a few weeks before the book came out, not knowing how good they would be. And Lukas and I have been doing some play testing, and yeah, they're really strong. They're really fun. It's just a shame that they're like so much stronger than everyone else, because yeah, there are some games where you don't really do a lot. You just kind of roll forward. So
yeah, it's unfortunate that, as Naj alluded to there, excuse me, as Naj alluded to there, just last weekend we were up at BIFPOD HQ up at Colin Sherman's house, playing through an RTT entitled The Battle of the Generations, us, the next generation, versus the OG BIFPOD boys. All 3 of us were paired directly into the BIFPOD hosts. We cannot talk about those games, though, as they have been converted into bit reps, which name trademark pending, are super condensed commentary-focused battle reports. You watch a whole game at 3x speed, and you get to hear what both the players involved thought about the game right afterwards. Everything is commentary. There's telestration. It's crazy good content. And starting with this one, we have taken our production quality and we have jacked it to 11. The initial ones were a little bit rough around the edges, but you're really going to love this stuff. We got animations, we got intro stuff and outro stuff, and the camera quality has been boosted up like 2 or 3 fold. The audio is better. They're just fantastic. At the time of recording, the very first game, Zach versus Hank, Tau versus Craftworld Elder, a little S tier on S tier violence going on. Bow. I mean, maybe everything's just A tier, and then clowns are the only S tier now, but who knows? Whatever the case, that game was awesome. It was super tight. I'm not going to spoil it, but you should go check it out right now. It's available for free on the YouTube at youtube.com/bestintabletop. Also going to be going up this week in that format are myself versus Mitch Pelham, Lukas versus Colin, Nick versus Chuck. There's our 3 OGs versus TNGs. Not going to spoil the results of any of those games, but they will also be available for free in the YouTube very soon. If you're listening to this on a podcast app, there's probably at least one more of them, maybe multiple up already. Go check it out. Rounds 2 and round 3. This is a single elimination tournament, so there are 3 other games in there. They've already been played. They've already been recorded, but they won't be up on YouTube for a bit, and those will be for members only. Those are where the games get real juicy. The round 1 games are a lot of fun, but the round 2 and 3 stuff is where things go really off the rails. I will say, having seen the championship game, you're not going to want to miss it. So consider becoming a YouTube member if you want access to that content. It's going to be really good games, and you'll get to see some S-on-S violence. I am, during that entire event, by the way, playing brand new Tyranids with the pre-leaked codex. So if you want Bugs content, you're not going to get better Bugs content anywhere else on the web. Last thing I want to plug, if you enjoy listening to us talk, or mostly me talk, and then these guys provide, actual insights at times. But if you don't get tired of the sound of my voice too quickly, you can join us over on patreon.com/bestintabletop, where $10 a month gets you access to the best Discord in 40K. Talk to the 3 of us, Innes Wilson, John Lennon, Alex McDougall, the hosts of all the other shows, and tons more people you want to hear from. Also see some of the best hobbying that's going on in the game right now, and there's other stuff if you're into other stuff. Whatever the case, it's the best place to hang out and talk about 40K, and you should be there. What did you guys think of the event last weekend without giving any spoilers? What did you guys think?
Sure, yeah. I had a ton of fun. I got to play Chuck for the first time, which was wild that I never played him. I guess we just never matched into each other at tournaments. So super, super fun game. Super great opponent. And just, setting aside a whole weekend to just play as much 40K as possible with people who are slinging around powerful lists and, also very solid players. Just a lot of good games. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was also fun to get to hang out and talk with everyone about their ideas for in their faction and how to tech for the current things that are strong right now. I loved getting to chat with Colin for a while about his thoughts about Craftworld Eldar counters for Harlequins, because obviously they're top dog right now. And learning about his thoughts about what was strong and what wasn't was pretty cool, and allowed me to make some informed choices about how I change my list in the future. So yeah, it was all pretty awesome.
Good stuff. Well, with that all said and done, let's jump right in. We've got a bunch we want to cover today, starting with our main event next weekend, which is going to be Tau Tipping. This event is taking place in Hoquiam, Washington. It's put on by our beloved local TO Jason Bird at his store Lion Guard Gaming. Or is the store called something else?
Lion Guard Gaming.
Okay, Lion Guard Gaming in Hoquiam, Washington. If you're anywhere near the Pacific Northwest, you won't want to miss this one. This is one of his 2 biggest events of the year, between this and Slaaneshmas in the winter. I guess it's still winter time in December. I've been to this event in the past. It was a ton of fun. But I'm not going this year because I'm not in the Pacific Northwest right now. But these 2 lovely gentlemen are. So we're going to start off with our boy Lukas. What are you taking, man?
I'm taking a really terrible list, and I'm really excited for it. I'm taking 2 Goth Patrols. This is like the newest iteration of Goth Pressure. 2 Goth Patrols. I've got Gaz and Makari. I've got a Brutal but Cunning Killer Claw Biker Boss. I've got a Big Mech with the Force Field, and the Weird Boy with the 4-up Invuln minus or half damage relic. Super Cyborg Body. 2x10 squads of Snagas for troops, 1 in each patrol. 16 Meganobs, 6, 5, and 5. 4, 4, and 4 Piggies, and 3 Wagons. 1 has an Ard case and 2 don't. Yeah, you're playing terrible lists. Ryan is very excited that I'm playing god awful lists. Yeah, it does not feel great, guys. This list is not very good. Just to be completely honest with you both. The idea is kind of the same as it was, as the Goth Pressure has been since LVO. It's just unfortunate that the power level of everyone else has been ramped up so much. It still just tries to rush down the opponent, kind of pressure them out of the midfield and kill enough of their stuff that they can't come back on points. The unfortunate reality of that game plan is that most people can now just kill you while you're in the midfield really easily. So that's not amazing. But the list still has some tricks. People that can't deal with Gaz super well have trouble into this list. Harlequins are one of those armies, by the way. Well, actually, not even because they can do mortals in the charge phase. In theory, they have to fight him once or twice in melee, and then he can do some damage. The Snaggers are pretty good into Harlequins if they ever connect. Strength 6 en masse, with rerolls from Gaz potentially into the like troops and stuff. Pretty good. Mega Knobs don't go away quickly to Shuriken. So like there's some things, and the wagons also are really resilient to Shurikens. And I have the mech to give him a 5-up invuln against the Void Weavers for the critical turn. So like I can resist them. It's just a matter of I don't think I play the points game better than they do. Um, but the list has a very good game into all of the A tier armies, and against some of the S tiers, if my opponent makes a critical mistake, I can jump on that. It is a very daunting wall of meat when it rushes into the midfield, especially like if it goes first and positions itself like 10 inches off of your DZ, and there's all of this crap sitting inside of transports that you have to kill. It's pretty scary. Um, but yeah, the list is relatively one dimensional. It basically look at this list and you guys tell me what holds your backfield. What holds my own backfield objective? There straight up like isn't a unit that holds my backfield objective. It's like a squad of pigs. It's very awkward.
Yep.
Or like what? Like you drive forward, everything gets out, and then one wagon like beep 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 reverses like directly back.
Yeah,
This is a terrible plan.
yeah. I have to like think about one unit to hold my backfield objective. Like it actually takes brain power to be like, okay, what's gonna hold my backfield objective this turn when I rush in? Like that's how bad this list is. It doesn't have something to sit in the backfield
You could do what Mark
Yeah.
Perry always suggests and take line breaker and
and just
not
go.
hold the backfield objective.
I mean, that's my plan. That's my plan anyway. So
Yeah. So obviously, Lucas, we've been following the evolution of this list for the last couple of weeks, since the fall of those horrifically overpowered kill rigs and beast bosses on Squigosaur, who were in complete need of a radical nerf.
glad that went up
Um,
25%.
that was a really good decision on GW's part. Since then, this has been sort of the list that you've been gravitating toward. But there's a couple things that have changed in the last 1 or 2 weeks. What are the latest changes that have come into the list, and why, basically?
Yeah, I was initially playing. I think I was playing with 10 Mega Knobs for a while. Mega Knobs are really good for 30 points. Um, it's a genuine debate if you want to buy them flamers or not, because flamers are really good into pointy years, but they just cost so much points, right? Like if I buy all of my Mega Knobs of flamethrower, that could alternatively buy me 5 more Mega Knobs.
Bruh.
Yeah, how many points are the flamers again?
10 points a model.
Yeah, that's
Which it's fair because it's a 5-1 flamer with assault, but also like that's a quarter of the points of the model. It's just expensive.
What's
You
the movement on a battle wagon?
12.
And it's open topped, right?
Yep.
So the thing goes 12 plus d6, and you fire a 5/1/1 flamer out d6 out 12 more inches.
Yep.
So we're talking minimum 25-inch threat range flamers. Like there's something there for sure. It's expensive, but like I see the appeal.
I'm debating bringing 1 or 2 squads of flamethrowers. Yeah. The other thing is the Snaggas. I had a squad of Gretchen and some Storm Boys for scoring for a while, but what I was realizing was the Storm Boys, I wasn't using them for scoring. I was using them to charge things, and they just weren't amazing at that. So I was like, why not just cut all that crap, grab 2 squads of Snaggas, chuck them in the open top battle wagons because they have more transport capacity, and now I've got more meat that's running at my opponent. Um, so yeah, they're pretty good. The other thing this list can do pretty well is take investigate signal because it rushes the midfield so well. They blow up a wagon, some snaggas spill out, they take some casualties, and then they go chill behind a ruin in the midfield and do that action over and over again. And if my opponent wants to sacrifice a unit so I don't do it, cool, then I get to kill stuff. Um,
Fair enough.
so yeah. Biggest innovations are getting rid of the flamethrowers and grabbing snaggas. Yeah.
Alrighty. We'll talk more about how to deal with Harlequins in particular in a sec, but it sounds like you've got something figured out. We'll see how it goes for you.
Yep.
Jumping over to Nick Olson Johnson with his fantastic Necron list that is going to defeat all the Harlequin players. Oops. What are you taking, Naj?
yeah. So I've said this before we even started. I'm still on the fence about playing Necrons or Harlequins. Like if I didn't own a Harlequins army, would I go out and drop a bunch of money to buy them right now? No. Did I have one sitting around? and they're now the best army in the game? Yes. So it's this weird internal debate, and we could get into it now or later, or not at all this episode. But it's basically it's like, do I play? I legitimately enjoy both armies, right? Like Harlequins are fun to play, and I also legitimately enjoy Necrons. So it's this weird debate of, do I play the weaker army that I enjoy and just get bashed by S tier, or the stronger army that I enjoy and go bash other S tier. And there's a bunch of Tau players coming to this tournament, I'm pretty sure, and that is not a fun game for the Necron army. So that's why I've called this the Tau Tipper Harlequins, because Harlequins beat Tau quite well. Well, sometimes, and we'll talk about that at the end of this. So I mean, this is pretty standard. I've tried Dark. Dark's really fun. Dark kind of bashes down A tier armies because it just fights on death for free, and a lot of A tier is about melee trading. But into the S tier, like Tau, the mirror match, what is it? Other Custodes. Light is a little bit better, I think. I think mostly Tau though. There's an argument for Dark being better. So I got Light, which is the funny can't be hit on less than 4s in the runaway stratagem. I got the Shadow Seer with what is it? She's got Mirror Architects. That's the you count as being further away when you shoot. Shadowstone, which is the light relics. All of her auras are 9 inches now, and her spells from her discipline are 3 inches further. She's got a Neo Disruptor pistol. I got the Slapmaster, so that's one of the Troop Masters. He's got Fusion Pistol, Foot in the Future, so that's the advanced D3 plus 3 plus 6 to charge. Queen of Shards, so that ignores invulns on 5-ups to wound. Seg's Rose, that's the really good relic weapon, like flat 3 with reroll wounds. Player the Light, like extra attack and strength from the charge. Clown Baby is my nickname for the second Troop Master. He's got a Fusion Pistol and the Storied Sword, so that's the auto-hitting power sword. And Veiled King, which means he wounds on 2s into non-vehicles and monsters. Also got the Death Jester with Harvester, Torment, and Favor of Segorok, so that's the 6s or 3 additional hits. And Favor is you can turn a hit, a wound, or a save roll into a 6 once per player turn. I got the Solitaire, who I think is legitimately very strong. He doesn't get Sadath keywords, so he can't ride in a boat, or he doesn't have all the light stuff, but he has the Caress and the Kiss keywords, so he could ignore invulns or do 6s to wound or mortals. And he's super fast. And then the meat of the list is the troops. So I got pretty much 5 squads that are pretty identical. They all have Kisses and 2 Fusions and 2 Nero Disruptors, but 3 of them I just threw an Embrace on there because I had some extra points, and Mortals in the charge seems pretty good. And then I got 5 Star Weavers to carry all those troops around in. 2x3 Void Weavers. I actually forgot to list it. I have 1 squad of 5 troops with just blades. They mostly just run around and do actions / start the Stranglehold trading game. So yeah, fairly standard, but I cut the extra squad of 3 Void Weavers you usually see for some slappy melee characters that I prefer a lot more.
For sure. And what matchups do you think those melee characters are going to give you an edge in?
I think honestly, Custodes. I think Light's okay into Custodes because it's -2 to shoot a lot of the time. But Lukas and I played a Dark versus Custodes, and even just -1 to hit no rerolls, with 4s rerolling to save is super tanky.
Completely bones them.
Yeah. So I think that the weakness into Custodes is if you get one of those center objective missions, especially Death and Zeal or Conversion, where the center objective is right next to their DZ. The Custodes player can go first and just throw their entire army into the middle of the board, and then be like, "Cool, dude, I hope your 9 Void Reavers can shoot me fast enough." And if they don't, you lose on primary. So these slappy characters are going to go run in and kind of give me some extra damage in another phase. They can also Bodyguard is very, very strong against 9 Void Weavers, and slap characters go, "Cool, I don't care that I can't shoot you. I just run in and kill you." Another thing about Harlequins too is while Light can cut angles really well, right? It can go 22 inches and shoot with no penalty, which is very dumb, but they can't cut angles super well on player place terrain, where your opponent can measure out okay, here's exactly what I where your angles are. I'm gonna put this nice big ruin in my DC. All this stuff's gonna be safe on my home objective. And I'd have to really expose myself to shoot them. I can instead just throw a fast character in there and kill a problematic unit behind a wall. So I think they're really. I also think they're really good in the mirror. If the mirror is just trying to roll 4s to hit with no rerolls, and then hoping your opponent fails a 4-up invul, not good. Run in like a melee character who at least hits on like 3s in melee, right? Because like weapon skill 2 down to 3 with -1 to hit. And then when you do connect, you just like blow them up. Because like Solitaire for 2 CP, you can ignore invuls. I think Lukas and I were mathing this out the other day. The Solitaire, it's a hefty investment, but I think it's worth it. For 2 CP, he can ignore invuls with the Caress stratagem, and for 2 more CP, he can do +1 damage on the charge. So you can just run in with on the blitz turn 10 attacks that are hitting on 3s now with the -1 to hit, wounding on 3s because it's strength 6 into T5. Everything that gets through just cuts straight through their invul and their armor save, and it's 3 damage.
That's 2 dead voids on average. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, if you invest a couple of haha dice, it's basically 2 Void Weavers dead.
Yep.
I think it's 2 Void Weavers without investing any dice, and then the dice could push it to 3.
Yeah.
Sounds like to me at least.
Super.
Oh yeah, 3 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real good. Whew. Okay.
Yeah, the
cool.
Solitaire slaps in the mirror. What is Segi's Rose? Is that a caress or is that a kiss?
That's a kiss.
Okay.
So, which kisses are not bad. It's 6s to wound mortals, but like he has 7 attacks, I guess, on the charge because a player of the light.
Right. That guy also ignores invuls on 5s, right?
Yeah, 5s to wound ignores invuls, and he's damage 3. And he's strength 6, so he's winning on 3s with
Dope.
fewer wounds. So that guy also could like slap some boats.
Yep.
He probably fishes at that point, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like honestly, if you're not playing like the slap characters, they're like one of the strongest part about Harlequins. The 9 Void Weavers are oppressive, and like, yeah, you'll beat B and A tier armies, no problem. But you'll run into a good A tier player or like some S tier armies and wish that you had these characters to run in and help you out.
Interesting.
So that's what I'm excited about, honestly. It's just those like those
Okay.
3 characters right there.
Have you put any reps into the mirror?
I've not. I don't have anyone else around here that plays Harlequin, so.
Do you have enough Harlequin armies between the stuff you're borrowing and the stuff you have that Lukas could proxy that? Because I would love to hear about how that goes.
No, I haven't. I've talked a little bit with Anthony about the mirror, and I mean he kind of that's why he advised me. He's like, dude, the Solitaire's crazy in the mirror, and I think he even talked about it on Fight Club this week about how crazy it is. So it's all about just like pressuring your opponent. If you just want to sit back and shoot each other, like eventually someone's gonna not roll 4s on their saves, and then they'll lose. So why not go? Like you're an army that's active in 2, sometimes 3 phases with the Shadow Seer. So like, why not go and just utilize all that damage you have?
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I hate that we're the podcast that's giving advice to Harlequin players on how to be better. They should quit the game. But instead of that, we'll move on from this and we'll talk more about Harlequin matchups in a second. Unless you got anything else you want to add on there.
No. I mean, we could talk about the like game I played into Tau after.
Yeah, we'll talk about specifics in a sec. I am not going to Tau tipping. I am going to a major Badger Brawl in Sacramento, California. We still have like 40 open slots at this tournament. There's like 30, 40 something people signed up. We got room for like 70 or 80. So if you are in the California area, these guys down here, they know how to put on a tournament. Every single one of the GTs I've been to is fantastic. Sacramento is cheap as hell. When it comes to hotels, my hotel was like $60. It's great. And that's just for me. I'm not even splitting. The terrain is good, the venue is wonderful, the food is fantastic, and it's dirt cheap. Like, it's basically everything. Oh, and the prize support is amazing. Great tournament. I'm gonna be there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Highly recommend anyone in the California area come on down. And don't worry, it's not a Shark Tank. Like, there's tons of people who are there just to have some fun. So if you're playing stuff that you don't think can compete with the big dogs, there's a very real chance that there are literally 0 Harlequin players in attendance. Like, it's going to be fun. You're going to have a great time. It's a full 6 rounds of 40K. I highly recommend it. So, with that pitch over with, they are unfortunately not allowing new Tyranids, which makes a lot of sense, seeing as how the Codex will not have been even pre-released at that point. So, I have to throw all of my new Nids practice out the window and go play some old Nids. There's a very real chance that I say F it and go play Tau instead. Because I do love Tau and I have a Tau army, and maybe I want to hear some more about this Borkan army that Nick is talking about, because that might be entertaining. But assuming that I just go play Old Nid's Forces, this is what I'll be playing. If you listen to Fight Club, Innes Wilson is taken to playing a pretty similar variation, but this is what I've been playing since Custodies dropped, basically. Like a week after LVO, I wrote this list, and it's barely changed since then. It's a Twisted Helix Patrol and a Leviathan Patrol. The Leviathan's a little simpler. It's got a Tyrant on foot with 2 pairs of Rending Claws. He's the Warlord with Chapter Master. We got 2 squads of warriors that hand out +1 to hit, 2 squads of hive guard that ignore AP2, and 3 sky slashers. And then we got a twisted helix patrol with a Kellermore for patriarch. I think the patriarch might have a familiar. 10 Akos with drills and a trap sprung for the extra die drop, the lowest on the charge. 2x5 naked acolytes to go do action things. 2 squads of 10 pure strains, 1 that pregame moves, 1 with +1 attack, squad of 5 jackals, squad of 4 jackals, and 2 trucks with demo charges. This list is a ton of fun. It does things in all the phases. It's super quick. It's very mobile. And there's 2 squads of hive guard, so you table most people. I have had moderate success with this list. This is, I think, is the best that old forces can do into Tau. I've gotten like that matchup kind of down to a science at this point. It does great into Craft World Eldar because their indirect, I don't care about their indirect, and my indirect is better than theirs is. It does heinous things to Custodes. Custodes do not like facing into this much Hive Guard, and the Drill Acolytes are also, like, literally everything in this army is a problem for Custodes. So it does great into all of those. The only problem is that it is probably the worst possible bugs list you could write into Harlequins. Because the list is built around squads of Hive Guard that hit on 2s and reroll everything. And that's not a thing into Harlequins. So, uh-oh.
Yeah, you can hit on 4s with no rerolls, buddy. How do you feel about that?
My Hive Guard go from an average of like 13.5 hits to an average of like 7. Or 8, rather. You get 8 hits. So that feels fantastic. And unlike Custodes, where like I can bait out the no rerolls and then double tap into someone else, and it's like, okay, yeah, for sure, I don't mind that at all. And also, I'm hitting on 2s. They don't have hit mods because no one takes the dense banner. Now it's like, oh yeah, no, it's bad. And then also trying to get to Harlequins in melee is just like not fun. I haven't played this list into mono Harlequins yet. I played it into mixed Eldari at the RTT a couple weeks ago, where he had like 6 voids and then the Craft World stuff. And I spent that whole game shooting Hive Guard at Void Weavers, which was the biggest mistake of my life. I just had never played into them at the time, so I was curious to see what happens. It doesn't do anything. I didn't kill a single Void Weaver. If I play into mixed again, I think there's a pretty easy strategy of ignore the Harlequins, because the Void Weavers don't actually do that much damage to me, right? Like the Shuriken weaponry and the Void Weavers into the Hive Guard just it's not a lot of shots. They don't do a ton of damage, and they ignore EP2. So if they're in cover, they're taking 3-up saves into the Shuriken. So it's fine. And if he's gonna get that close, I can usually punish it with some melee. But like, if I have to play this in a mono Harlequins, I'm taking it. It's just happening unless I roll like a Greek god, which happens sometimes. So we'll see how it goes. It is a 6-round major that currently has under 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, under 64 players, which means there's no guarantee that anyone will go true undefeated. So I'm definitely still in the money, even if I have to take 1 L to Harlequins. And like I said, Harlequins might not even show up. So we'll see how it goes. It's a fun list. Yeah, you guys have any questions?
So what's the Tyrant on foot with double claws for? Is that just like is that a to the last choice?
Yeah, he's a to the last. For a while back in the older version of this list, like the LVO version, we were running a Tyrant with like a heavy venom cannon and talons, literally to make him a to the last. Now that I don't have the Devil Gaunt squads, the only thing I have to be more expensive than is the Pure Strain Stealers, which is real easy. Yeah. I will say, this is like one of my favorite, one of the most disappointing things. There was a tiny FAQ for GSC that came out recently where the +1 attack went from, I don't know if it was 5 to 10 or 10 to 15 points. I think it was 5 points to 10 points, but it went up by 5 points, which put the squad from 150 to 155. When it was only 150, and that was my most expensive thing, the Tyrant on foot was actually a Malanthrope, and my third to the last was a 9-wound character that made my Hive Guard -1 to hit. It was so gross into Tau. It was so good! And GW just had to crush my dreams. So if you're listening, GW, up the Malanthrope by 5 points. It's a nerf, I promise. I'll be really upset. Don't do it. No.
I'll be honest, I do not think they were considering that at all when they created the attack.
I don't know.
Apparently they do when they change Plague Burst Crawlers, but
yeah.
So they think about it, but they probably were not thinking about a squad of 10 Pure Strain Gene Stealers being more expensive than a Malanthrope. But he is indeed, so we'll see how this does. Like I said, this list absolutely rocks Tau, because Hive Guard being T5, save and ignoring AP2, I'm just making 4-up saves all day, 3-ups if I'm in cover and you didn't take ignore cover on the AFPs, which is becoming like increasingly uncommon, and your SMS goes away very fast against this list.
Are people actually not taking target locks anymore?
They're taking shield generators.
Yo, I might live for one more turn.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. If you play Tau and want to beat this list, the trick is to protect your Crisis Suit commander at all costs. And if you're playing this list, which goes away in 2 weeks, so why are you? But if you want to beat Tau with this, the trick is to kill that guy. And you're like, how do I kill a 6-wound character? I don't know. It just seems to happen. Tau players get sloppy. They assume that I'm going to run into into the Crisis Suits, but if you can sneak Gene Stealers or Acolytes or something around and just go for it, even if it means hitting a 10-inch charge with the Acolytes, it just happens sometimes, you know?
Yep.
Bet the game on that if you have to. But once that guy dies, you can slam trucks into the AFP squad, and the Flamers don't do anything into the trucks. And at that point, like, there's a game to be played. But yeah, so that's sort of what's going on with Old Nid's forces. Should be fun.
Nice.
I hate it so much.
Why not play Tau? Should we talk about maybe playing Tau?
Sure.
What's your version of playing Tau? Come on, you haven't played Tau in forever. Let's get the middle school throwback, Tyler. Come on.
What Talus would you take if you played Tau?
I would. Oh, there's one other thing. I might take like Mono GSC. That's also on my list of possibilities.
Would it be Twisted Helix?
No, it would be Bladed Cog.
Okay.
A person who I would have, someone with a name in Russia asks, Tau can't fall back and shoot without the commander. That is correct. The only way that Tau can fall back and shoot is with the Crisis Commander. They get around that usually because they can shoot into combat, but you can't do that with blast weapons, which AFPs are, and the Flamers don't do enough to the trucks. Great question. And our boy Max comments that shield gens and velocity trackers seem to have taken the place of target. Yes, Max, you're also correct. If they Kalyan, they can fall back and shoot on later turns. But if they took Kalyan, I already won the game, so that's fine. Yeah. So if I were to play Mono GSC, I'd do what Innes keeps telling everyone to not, or Anthony keeps telling everyone to not do, and just hard tech for Harlequins and outplay everybody else. That probably looks like 20 Bladed Cog Aberrants if I had to guess, which would be real funny. Do I have 20 painted? I have at least like 50.
Dude, Nick, they're 5-up invuln, 5-up feel no pain, -1 damage.
Sounds
Toughness 5, 3 wounds.
Sounds pretty good.
Right? Like it's a thing. It's a thing.
Do you bring them back? Can you bring them back with the icon?
No, they're not core. They're not core.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, neither are troops, so yeah, we're both.
Except that your boat has 2 shuriken cannons on it for some reason. Anyway, so that's like an interesting thing that could go down the route. The tech, if you're not familiar, is that Bladed Cog gives everyone plus, I believe it's 4 inches to range. So your Flamers go from 12 to 16, and then the -6 puts them at 10. So you can even deep strike at 10 and then shoot or 8 and then shoot and then charge, or deep strike at 6 if you really need to get somewhere. And then the Flamers the boats are only toughness 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Does Bladed Cog still have the reroll to wound relic? Is that still a thing? Give me just a second to look at my GS.
Because that was the old tech with the Flamer Bomb, right? Was that
yeah.
Freaking dudes show up and have old grudges?
The mark of the Clawed Omnissiah. Oh no, the Warlord trait, Single-Minded Obsession. Yep, before the battle, select 1 enemy unit from your opponent's army, while a friendly Bladed Cog core unit is within 6 of the Warlord. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack against an enemy unit, you can reroll the wound roll. So
let's go.
You pick a squad of 3 Void Weavers, and you say you better be careful with those boys, because Harlequins don't have Auspex, and I'll show up at 8, or even at 6 if I have to, because if I show up 6 away, then my range is 16 down to 10. So you better have like 4 inches of bubble wrapping there, or I'm going to drop 20d6 for 70 hits. Wounding on 5s you're rolling is like 36 wounds, 37 wounds.
4s.
Saving on 4s, that's almost 20 wounds through to the Void Weavers. That kills a squad of Voids.
Let's go, dude! That's awesome.
And then I charge something else, right? Like, it's funny.
That's dope. You should totally play that.
Here's the issue. There might literally be 0 Harlequin players in attendance at the events. And I do not want to play 6 rounds slogging through playing Mono GSC. Oh, but also it's Mono GSC. So I have Crossfire. So I'm +1 to wound.
Hilarious.
Oh my god!
Wounding on 4's full reroll. So I kill squad avoids without the rerolls.
Pretty good.
It's really funny.
Yeah. But like you said, how does this do to Tau?
Well, but like Tau, not bad actually, because
Really?
Tau also don't have Auspex basically at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they stand in cover.
They stand in cover, but I put Crossfire Token on them and I expose them and I ignore cover. What are you talking about? Get out of here, Lucas. Don't you know how Mono GSC works? They're such a popular faction.
They take it on an Iridium suit.
Yeah, but they're going to fail some 2-up saves eventually.
Sure.
Are you sure about that?
The problem playing Mono GSC is I would probably want some rock grinders and some trucks, and I only have 3 total chassis of those.
Okay.
I do have 3 Ridge Runners though, which I could get slapped together and paint real quick. So like, there's some serious firepower there. Yeah. I really like those with the missiles. So I'll go talk to Alex McDougall and see if we can brew up something fun. But that's an option. But I'm also very curious to hear about this Borkan list, Nick. What do you got for me on that front?
Yeah, so I played, like Lucas said, we were playing some games last night. I played against my buddy Max Sportster last night, and he was prepping his list for Tau tipping, which was like a Farsight Allied World list, like pretty standard. He really likes plasma rifles though, which I think are getting more popular. So we deployed our armies, and then he realized that the marker light ability that Farsight have is reduced by the Mirror Architect from the Shadow Seam, so he needs to be within 6 inches to get the guaranteed marker light. And he was like, "Oh, I'm switching to Borkan now because you just ruined my army." And I was like, "Sure, whatever. Let's see what happens." So he changed a few things around. And for those that are not aware, Borkan is like a bit of a janky sept. It's plus 4-inch range to their range attacks, and when getting shot by a ranged weapon that is strength 7 or less, you subtract 1 strength from it. And I think that only works on like the suits
and vehicles.
But this is pretty good into shuriken spam because you're spamming suits already as Tau. Shurikens are strength 6, your suits are T5, now they're strength 5. So it's like -1 to wound on all the shuriken weapons, which is quite good. And then Borkan also has access to a stratagem, 2 CP, to have a single gun from a single model ignore invuls for a turn, which Max didn't really like build a list in preparation for this. He used it a few times and it was kind of cute, but I think if he said if he rebuilt the list, like maybe he tried to put a Riptide in there. I know people have suggested the Borkan Storm Surge because it's really funny to ignore invuls with like that gun. But the thing is, like, the really scary gun on the Storm Surge is like 24-inch range, right? It's not that good into Harlequins because you need to be within 18. So
here's the thing, though. You're not going to get rerolls anyway, so why don't you just chuck your big T8 monster 18 inches away from them and go, haha, no invuls for you.
How fast does the Storm Surge even move?
It's got Molotov, dude.
Yeah.
They're moving 8s and they advance and do the things. So they'll go like 12 inches. Yeah. Which is a lot for a base that big. Like, they can F around and find out.
It's Borkan, but it's going to be in a super heavy Ox, so it won't have chapter tactics, right?
Oh, so yeah, it won't have the plus 4-inch range and it won't have the -1 strength. Which is fine because it's toughness 8. It doesn't matter into Harlequins at all.
So I think it's okay. But anyways, regardless of that, the plus 4-inch range was super big because he was actually able to shoot me turn 1. Like I was kind of like shooting in a back corner, and because he had plus 4-inch range, he was able to get the plasma rifles are 30 and then 34, so -6 so 28. So I was outside of 24. So if he was Farsight, he would not have been able to shoot me turn 1. But I was within 28, so he was able to shoot me turn 1.
Yeah, we were kind of looking and measuring all the distances, and there was like multiple very critical times when the plus 4-inch range like allowed Max to get in range when he otherwise wouldn't have been able to, just straight up.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
And like fire and fade super strong, but like I couldn't fire and fade away sometimes. So that was pretty good. Yeah, this is what Max is talking about. Max really likes the Riptide. Max right there.
Yeah. So what would you think about taking the pulse driver cannon instead of the blast cannon and dropping down to only 3 damage, which still takes 2 shots to kill a Void Weaver anyway? You go to 3d3 shots instead of 6, so you average the same, but you have the opportunity to get more potentially, and you can 1 CP that if it doesn't go super hot. And you're still 10-4-3, so like, and now you're 72-inch range.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like you lose access in the other matchups to the shotgun of being flat 12 damage. Goodbye, which is real funny.
Yeah, but who's really really good into?
Though also I will say, if we're talking about concerns about range here, if you're not doing the funny gun, it's 48 inch range with the dispersed shot. So like you'll get in range just fine.
Yeah.
But other thing that was really good, and this wasn't Borkan, like any Tau player could do this. The flamer brick. Very, very, very good. So Exemplar of the Monka is also when, like, you go to shoot if you're within 12 inches, reroll all wounds, and your Architect also fucks with that. So you have to be within 6 inches. But Max's turn, I think his turn too, he was like, cool, whatever, I gotta get within 6 to kill you, and just launched himself up and just blasted his flamers within 6 with full rerolls to wound, and I think picked up 2.5 Void Weavers off that. It's just a lot of auto hitting guns that are wounding on 5s with full rerolls. Very strong because they have a 4-up armor, 4-up invul.
Yep.
They're gonna fail a bunch of those. It's a coin flip. And at best they have like their 5 haha die. They only get 5 rerolls. So
last comment to Max. The Riptide is only strength 8. That's my problem with it. Whereas the Storm Surge is strength 10, I believe. Let me double check that. Storm Surge, even at the Pulse Driver Cannon is strength 10, so you're wounded on 2s instead of 3s, which is a real big deal. Is there access to, and if you're in Montcar range and you're rerolling 1s to wound, which is like requires your opponent to be an idiot, but like it happens from time to time. Like I like 2s a lot better than 3s.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel, Nick, about and Tyler? Because I know your suits are magnetized and you have all sorts of weapon options. How do you feel, Nick, about just dirt cheap like burst cannon flamer Sib suits, or like burst cannon flamer plasma rifle or something like that?
how do I feel about it? Like in the Harlequins?
Yeah, I feel like taking as many of those with as many like strength 5 1 damage shots as possible. It's really good.
I think the flamers are crazy. Like, I mean, they're not crazy, but like they're one of the best things because they get around like the Void Weaver's best defense, which is -1 to hit, no rerolls to hit.
Yeah.
Flamers auto hit. You do kind of want to get in range though of Exemplar. So you're basically saying, all right, I'm gonna sacrifice this Crisis Squad to kill a Void Weaver squad, which isn't a great thing, but they do have to commit a lot to kill it. Like I do have to then send my melee characters in out of the boats to go punch this Crisis Squad.
And if your melee characters whiff, like if you don't have the ignore invulns, and I just spike them, or what's the AP on the ignore invuln guy?
Well, the 5s to win ignore invuln, it's AP2. It's not that great.
That I got 4-up saves, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? The other guy, the Solitaire's better. He's AP3, but you also have to spend 2 CP on that.
Still have 5-up saves.
Yeah.
The Crisis also just to like kill a boat on Overwatch. Like you can tank Overwatch with a boat, but it's just a boat for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
All right. So yeah, so there's some play in here. I think the moral of the story is that S tiers still have play into Harlequins. Right? Like there's crazy shit out there.
I won that game, but it ended with like both of us having like 3 units left on the board.
Whew.
We just nuked each other off the earth. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, every round was just one person slugging the hell out of the other one, and then they get back up somehow. It's crazy.
Do we think that a Riptide and a Storm Surge is too much?
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, I think one of those is totally fine. The other thing is, now that you're not playing Farsight, you need marker drones, and like, so what reliable ways are there to get marker drones? He has 2 commanders, so you slap 2 marker drones on each of those.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Is there? I assume there's an ethereal who can take up their marker drones.
Oh, that's true. Okay, yeah. So you have 3 marker drones,
and you don't really care about him being out in the open because you take Crisis bodyguards. He's bodyguarded.
Yep,
that's fair. Here's the other thing I was thinking, Nick. If you're light, doesn't and Max doesn't have the Crisis Commander, which he doesn't right now. Don't velocity trackers not matter?
They matter if he doesn't have a marker light and I want to LFR. If that makes sense, right? Because he's skill 4. Actually, no, it does matter because the chassis are innately -1 to hit.
Yeah, that's.
So if he doesn't have a velocity tracker, he's hitting on 5s.
Even with a marker light, you just have to LFR.
Yeah, light doesn't really interact with the Crisis suits so much. It makes the Crisis commanders -2 to hit.
Okay, so moral of the story is you need a Crisis commander.
Yeah, there were multiple times that Max would shoot a Crisis squad with velocity trackers into his unit, and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to LFR that unit that's already -1 to hit, and then he's back hitting on 5s.
Yeah.
He bought some 5s. Like, he shot, like, 10 plasma rifles, and, like, 6 got through. I'm like, "Oh my god."
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Don't rely on hitting on 5s to beat Harlequins, it's not good.
Yeah.
Take the Crisis Commander. Ignore
If
all
you're
hit
not,
ones.
go ahead.
Yeah, let's think. So what goes in this list? We want a crisis commander. We want a cold start commander. Obvious. We want an ethereal.
Mhm.
Just necessary. I think that. Oh, what do you think?
Can I interject one thing?
Sure.
Is the Enforcer better than the Cold Star here? Obsec to a big brick. There's already a scrap for Advance 6 instead of Advance 8.
Mm-hmm.
Same guns. And the dude's like -1 damage, -1 to incoming strength. He's got the funny flamethrower. Like, what about
I'm
one just
entertained.
big, chonky? He's got a 5 of Feel No Pain, 1-up
Yeah.
armor save from Bagel Plate.
His downside is speed. So if you're fine sacrificing the speed, I think it's totally worth it.
8 plus 2, 6 inches?
No, I'm talking about, like, because can't, like, the Cold Star, like, teleport and stuff?
Oh, he can do that.
Yeah, but how often do you need that to win a game? Like, this Enforcer seems like he just gets in and donkey punches Harlequins until he dies finally on turn 4.
Yeah. Also, giving out
Okay.
Obsec's really good, because something that Harlequins really like to do is, um, put a boat on an objective, you crack the boat,
Yep.
and they go, "Ha ha, it's mine," and if you have your Obsec crisis suits there, like, "No, it's not, idiot, it's mine."
Yeah.
It's also works defensively because you can park your guys in the midfield and be like, "You're gonna have to invest more than 5 troops."
Yeah, you're gonna have to, like, invest your army to clear this objective.
I think the Enforcer is legit.
I think that's a great idea because it's a very easy idea if you're playing Harleys to be like, oh, you got a bucket of suits on that. Totally, they'll shoot in combat and kill me next turn. I'm gonna go deny your primary and score Stranglehold with 5 naked troops.
Yeah,
now.
here's 5 troops with blades. Lol.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so that's nice. The Storm Surge also seems really good into the Harleys because it's got the counterfire defense system. So like the first 2, if I have CP for it, the first 2 prism cannon shots that go through don't. Or is it one of them that I don't remember how that works.
One of them goes to 1 damage.
One of them goes to 1 damage.
Goes to
Okay.
0.
Yeah. So he like the problem that I have found playing into Harlequins, and you guys can tell me if your experience has been the same, when I'm playing new NIDs at least, is that they have a horrific action economy. And I mean like activations, not just like literal actions. They have way too few opportunities to do stuff. They had like they because they basically have a maximum of 3 shooting units. And a lot of people are only taking 2.
Oh, no, the Void Weavers. Yeah.
The Void Weavers, right? So when I was playing into Harleys recently, I was playing into them with new NIDs the other night. I was playing into our boy Matt. He was actually playing Dark, but that doesn't change this problem at all. Honestly, it makes it better because it means that they get an extra fight. But the issue was, I was like, okay, cool. I see what you're trying to do here. You have your 2 squads of Voids. That's where your damage is coming from until you get into melee. And like we can pick around and do trades. And then, all right, it's go time. Maliceptor, Gargoyles, Warriors, Spore Mines. You can't kill all of that at once. You literally can't. Without sacrificing a ton of stuff. And like the Spore Mines are an excellent addition there. We'll talk more about anti-Harlequin tech in the future. But if you want to beat Harlequins with NIDs, I think Biovores are essential because I put 8 Spore Mines behind a wall near an objective where he wasn't going to be able to get to them, and he didn't. And then that turn, I said, okay, surprise, here they are. They're still not getting to you because you're not an idiot. You didn't deploy them where they could be gotten to. Next turn, you have to put an activation of shooting into them. You just have to. Because if you charge them, they explode, and they'll kill you. So you have to shoot them, and you have 2 units that shoot. You have 6, like, models that can be split fire and stuff. But that's still 8 wounds that you have to get through. So it's not nothing. And that I
think exploiting that is possible for the very powerful armies.
Yes,
because they
absolutely.
have some of the resiliency and like damage output at close range options to actually kill Harlequins or make those choices difficult. I've also noticed that same thing, but unfortunately they just have enough damage to kill my army.
Yeah, for our armies like Orcs and Necrons, where our threats we present is P5 spam, they just go, oh, I have these 60 shuriken shots lying around. Cool. That are strength 6.
I see that. So what I'm thinking is for Tau, as an army that can do that, saying, boom, here's a Storm Surge. The first 2 Prism Cannons that go through don't do anything. Boom, here's a giant unit of Obsec Crisis Suits. And boom, we need a 3rd threat. Maybe it's more MSU Crisis Suits. Maybe it's Broadsides. I don't know what the other thing is. And saying, here's all the stuff. I'm holding the table. Like, Harlequins win right now in the same way that Triptide used to win, where the shooting output is impressive, but it's not game-ending in the way that Tau's is. They don't kill everything in line of sight.
No.
Yep.
They just then don't die, and they do that for 6 turns. So if you can punish that by holding the table so they're going way down on points while doing that, or forcing them to actually trade if they want to get engaged, that seems like the path forward.
Yep, I agree.
I agree. That's what I was noticing in a lot of the Harlequin games. I was like, this is exactly like Triptide. The Void Weavers are good because they get to activate all turns of the game.
Max says broadsides are great because it makes them use the luck dice a lot.
Yeah, so
I see that.
these are funny. Broadsides, I mean, they're what? They're hitting on 4s with velocity trackers. If you want to LFR, I guess you could make them hit on 5s. But like,
You got
they
marker
got-
lights for that.
Yeah.
marker lights also counter that. So there's a lot of ways to just basically you're hitting on 4s, you're wounded on 2s, I think, right? Strength 10.
I think they're only strength 8 or 9.
Or the rail
Broadsides
rifle?
are strength 9. Yeah.
All right,
only strength
bummer.
9.
But you're hitting on 4s, you're wounded on 3s, you can CP reroll, and then you go, hey dude, make your invul or I kill you on average. And what happened into Max is I would reroll that invul and I'd fail it. And he's like, cool, boat's dead.
Also, just like the mortal output from the successful wound rolls.
Yeah, it
Like if
actually-
here's 3, like if I hear it's 3 hits, here's 3 wounds, I got a little bit lucky. Take 3 mortals. That's half a boat gone.
And defensively, what are you gonna do? Shoot shuriken at them? Lol, 2 up in cover.
They have an
You shoot
8
prism cannons?
wounds,
Okay, I've got 2
yeah.
shield drones.
I think I had to send in my melee characters to go kill them in our game. But the funny thing too is
Yeah.
they're suits, so they can blow up when they die. So they could just do mortals to the melee characters.
And
Dude.
they actually have the range to tango because they're 60-inch rail rifles plus 4 to 64-inch range.
Yep.
I don't care if it's only 58-inch range. I'm going to cut some angles. And they're plenty fast with the advancing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's great about this is that like I may just play the list that's easy because it's already hobbied and ready to go. But I've now got 2 like very compelling, interesting ideas for what else to try out.
You'll be able to beat an unprepared Harlequins player.
Oh, you
Like,
will absolutely.
I will say Max and I were both unprepared for how good his army was. And he's like, oh, if I'd known like how much damage I could have done, I would have played way more aggressively.
I will also say I love my Storm Surge that I own personally. It's one of my favorite models. It's super converted up. I did it when I was like 15 or 16 or something. I would love to put that guy on the table unironically and be like, get effed, Harlequins.
One thing to watch out for. I know you said they only have like 2 shooting activations or 3. They're running the 3 voids. They do also have like the smattering of fusion pistols. Like most lists have like 10 to 12. Like my list is 12, and I also have 11 Nero disruptors. So
there's downsides to the fusion pistol though. You have to be at
Yes,
point
you
blank
can
range,
get
and then the Tau can.
Yeah. Yeah, but if a Tau player like rockets a squad up within 6 of me, then it's like, cool, here's 12 fusion pistols, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, no, I think the Tau game plan has to be defensive.
Yeah.
It has to be, here's my army, I'm holding the board, you have to come to me, or you're not holding objectives, and I will fire enough long range stuff that if I set up angles and terrain right, it's playable.
And
I don't know that I have
And to bring it back to the commanders,
Mhm.
I think that's why the Cold Stars, the Enforcer is so good.
Yeah. Auto Advance 6 is plenty. Also with that game plan, you can take Investigate Signal real easily.
True.
Ethereal tells the giant blob of Obsec Crisis Suits to shoot and act, sits in the middle, shoots and acts every turn.
Do you
We're in
take
business.
you take Kroot, or do you take? I genuinely am wondering if Devilfish is worth it, because I feel like a lot of times Kroot just get gunned down now by Harlequins, don't they?
The problem is that I gave all my Devilfish to Zach temporarily.
Sad days. I mean, just in theory, like what's
in theory. The problem with the Devilfish is the Breachers is 8-inch range?
They're +4.
They are 12-inch range up to 16, and I think
They're base 12?
I think
What? No,
They're-
they're not.
their funny shotgun range is 8, but they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
strength 5 -1 out to 12.
They go out to 14 actually. So 14 out to 18 down to 12. So yeah, so it's there'll be 6-inch range on the shotguns or 12-inch range on the 5.11s.
They're not bad. I think that having some sort of obsec to make the Harlequin player have to like devote shots to clearing is good.
Yeah. I feel like I want something wicked fast. I'm not sure what that needs to be, but I want something that I can throw away to punish stuff. Like what about like Tetras? How many points are Tetras right now?
They're not good.
Yeah, they're not.
No, take the marker lights on the
I'm not even thinking about for marker lights. I'm thinking about in terms of something that can blitz across the table and put 2 models on an objective with 1 boat on it, or deny a button push on vital intelligence, or protect a bomb. Things
What
like
about
that.
what about stealth suits?
They're
Are they
not
not
fast
fast
as
enough?
Tetris though, right? Piranhas?
they're
How many points are piranhas?
No.
these are all good questions.
If
no.
they're like 40 points, that'd be good.
Okay, they're 40 points.
Tetras are 40 points a model, but they're min squad 2, so it's 80
Yeah.
points for the squad of them.
Lot.
Piranhas,
Or like
I don't know how to
75.
spell. How do you spell piranha?
PIRANNA?
NHA.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Nick got it. There's 60 points. I don't
Mm.
like it.
Yeah, no.
So, but
Not
like
a good.
I think I'd take the Kroot though.
Yeah.
Crew hounds, dude. Crew hounds.
Dude, I got my converted Kroot hounds. They are super
That's
spicy.
the fast trade
Bad
unit that goes.
Yeah, because they're what,
crap
like
gold.
move 10 or
It's
12 or something
24
stupid
points
like
for
that.
4 models. Just
Yep.
go over and steal an objective from a boat.
They're movement 12 and they pregame move 6 or 7.
So we're taking Kroot Hounds and then 2 squads of Kroot, not
Yeah, because you need double patrol. I don't think
not
you want
Devilfish.
creatures.
God damn it.
The thing about the Devilfish is most Harlequin players are probably going to take that secondary a deadly performance,
And yeah.
which is like kill 2 units in shielding, kill 3 units in melee for one part of it. The nice thing about the Devilfish is like they're kind of easy big targets to be like, all right, I'm just gonna kill that this turn for 3 points, you know. And then when the Breachers come out next turn, you go, cool, I'm gonna kill them next turn for 3 points, you know. Like, I guess the Kroot Hounds and the Kroot are kind of the same way, but like they're cheaper.
Exactly. I don't mind playing down the secondary game a little bit for that.
Yeah.
So the list right now, we've got a Storm Surge, we've got a Crisis Commander, we've got an Enforcer Commander, we've got an Ethereal, we've got a fatty daddy squad of Crisis Suits with what, like double burst Flamer?
Sure.
Flamer, I just why not make it as cheap as possible? Flamer, Sib, Burst Cannon.
Or Sib's cheaper than the second Burst Cannon? I think they're the same price.
Maybe, I don't know.
I have the Tau Codex right in front of me. Give me 2 seconds.
Either way, I don't know, man. I think a second squad of Crisis, like, why not just like take a bunch of Crisis? Like a second squad of Crisis?
Oh no! You know what? You know what's only 5 points? Would be the
What?
cheapest option.
What?
An AFP.
Okay.
So I think you go Burst Flame or AFP or Plasma Rifle. Plasma Rifles are also only 5 points. A Sib
That's
would be
fair.
10.
Yeah, then at least you have like some kind of long range gun instead of
Go
if
play
you
play
take-
all
if
the
you
range.
If you take Burst Cannon, Flamer, AFP, you're all in on the I'm going to be
It
with.
doesn't really work in
Yeah.
the super defensive.
Yeah, so okay.
style.
And this is, what do you think? This is a 5 or a 6? And is this bodyguards or is this regular dudes? Is this the
This is
bodyguard
regular
unit?
dudes. I think you should take 2 squads of regular dudes. 2 squads.
I was thinking like 1 fatty daddy and then like 2 or 3 3-mans.
That's good too.
Yeah,
Okay.
you definitely want bodyguards. You do not want that ethereal getting death yes, dude.
Having witnessed the power of giving a full brick rerolls to wound and getting them within range, I think
And
Max
also feel no pain.
really good.
They're so.
Oh yeah,
hard
and
to kill.
the feel no pain, exactly.
I
So we're at
kind
2
of
up.
like 2x5.
Yeah. And are we thinking we go with the velocity trackers on them over the shield generators just because that +1 to hit is so important, or do they not need it because they're the one that they're going to get crisis commandered and they can take shield gens?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think the shield gens are good because this squad eventually is probably going to want to get close, and in that case, they're going to about to take 12 melt pistols to the face, right?
Yeah.
I think the shield gens are.
So okay, so we're going burst, flamer, plasma, shield,
Yeah.
and then one guy drops the shield for the Overwatch one.
Yep.
And then as many iridiums as you can cram in there. We'll take a full. You think we'll probably take a full 6, because you have drones anyway. So the blast and coherency doesn't change anything.
The iridiums are okay. It's up to you. I mean, like the iridiums save you from the shuriken, right?
Yeah,
and I
which
guess
I
they
think
save you from the player of the light.
They're also 5 points a model for the ones that take it.
That's
Like
that's
that is super worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we're at. And then what are the runaround squads taking?
They could have more long range stuff if you really wanted to. Because at the end of the day, like if your goal is to just beat Harlequins, yeah, you can take 3 squads with this loadout.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you're going to lose to everyone else.
So they probably take the more like plasma Sib kind of situation.
Yeah,
Double
you could take,
black
like-
Sib.
Yeah, or like plasma missile Sib if you want to keep it super cheap.
You put the steaming injectors on one of them.
I genuinely like the missile.
I think the stimmies have to go on the big brick. I think they just have to. You like the missile pods just what for the range?
And because it's cheap.
Yeah. 10 points for 10 points for the missile pod is the same as for the second plasma rifle.
Oh,
So Sib missile plasma is the same as Sib double plasma. So I think you take Sib double.
You
Plasma.
probably take 2, yeah.
Okay. So that's cool. I have plenty of bits for that. I think I have enough. How many crisis are we thinking total? A 6-man and like 2 3-mans?
And the
Yeah,
3 mans are
and then-
bodyguards.
And then bodyguards if you have the models.
They're the same model, right?
Why not just make the big squad bodyguards? Oh, because they lose a hard point.
They'll probably also blast
Yeah.
forward at some point.
The loss of hard point is really the reason.
Yeah, the hard. No, I'm not. The big squad has to have all 4 hard points. So okay, so maybe. Well, I'll figure out the logistics. But this sounds like a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And I definitely do. I own 12 crisis suits because I have the 6-man. That's the cool new ones, and then I have. Oh yeah, I have like 15 crisis suits. So yeah, that should be fine. Oh, I may have loaned 3 of them out.
You should be running a number of crisis suits equal to the number of crisis models you got. That's how good these guys.
I think I loaned them out to my boy Andy, so I'll see if I can get those back from him and
Let's
get
go.
some modeling done. This sounds like a ton of fun. And there's a storm surge. There's a.
Yes, sir.
I get a feeling we're gonna run out of points real freaking fast. But okay.
Have you built Tau lists yet? Because I think you're gonna be surprised.
Because I built that list for Ian with the storm surge, and it was like, how did this happen? Because we built a Tau step list, like this is incredible, like it's gonna kick everyone's ass. Let's make it worse. Let's fit in a storm surge. Okay, we're playing Borkan now, so Shadow Sun comes out, Dark Strider comes out, and a couple upgrades. Oh, that's a storm surge.
Isn't this
right?
Yeah.
It's 330 points. Who thought that was okay?
It's so dumb.
Okay.
That was
so
fun.
we'll do that. Yeah, awesome. So we just live built maybe the Tau list that I'll be playing next weekend, and now I don't hate it nearly as much as I used to. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe I will talk to Alex about what the GSC list would look like, because that would also be hilarious. Yeah. So there's a couple ideas. Let's talk about some things that other armies can do to deal with Harlequins, because obviously we won't go in that level of depth, but we just live wrote a Tau list. That was fun. What are we thinking? What are you thinking, Lucas? What's going on in Orc World? How are you teching for Harlequins in particular? You don't have to be taking it. You doesn't have to be good. I just want to know what you can be trying, because there are some very sad Orc players out there, and they need something.
What's so good in our games? There has been some things that have performed pretty well.
Yeah. What has done well? The Meganobs are genuinely good. I was thinking about just taking like 3 squads of 8.
You're taking the full squads and starting them on the line like the guy said last week? Whoever you were, random commenter, we love you. You were right.
Yeah, I mean, that's genuinely a consideration. They get there by being in an open top battle wagon, which sucks into Tau and Custodes because of all the strength 8. Because the open top ones go down to strength 7. I'm sorry.
Riptides are strength 9 anyway. What's the difference?
But against Harlequins, it only matters against the fusion pistols. And if you're getting shot by fusion pistols, then it's crumping time, boys. So yeah, there's a genuine consideration to take like 27 Meganobs and just see how it goes. I don't know. There's so little in our book that's good at killing these guys. It's honestly pretty sad. But
what about custom booster blasters?
Hitting on 6s?
Oh no, the flamers.
The flamers.
Oh. No.
You could take Burnham.
Aren't they like 43 shots?
Put them in an open topped car and make them pyromaniac.
I don't know how orcs work, but yeah.
Okay.
What about Burners?
Burners is pyromaniacs. Min 3 shots.
Are they only range 12? Is there a way to get them better? I guess they're range 12. Are they assault?
They
assault?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's range. So we're doing the whole like thing moves 12 plus d6, and then 12 gets reduced to 6. So minimum 19-inch threat range.
Zap Crumpers have always been Goff Zap Crumpers have always been like on the edge of playable.
What are Zap Crumpers?
Oh,
no.
Oh,
you're making stuff up, because that's not a real thing.
For real. You pay. I think it's. Is it 1 point a model? It might be 2 points a model. Let's just say 2 points a model to give them 6s to wound or immortal in addition.
With no cap.
What is this? What goes on this?
It's an upgrade to Burners, where 6s to wound with the melee weapons are immortal in addition.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. That seems great.
I mean, the problem is they're 2 attacks a model, 3 with the WOG. So like, they're okay, I guess.
I mean,
also with the minus 6-inch range, like, how is a truck full of Zap Crumpers ever getting in range?
Something that I found that was legitimately good in our game, the pigs. Beast Snaggers in general, because they get +1 to hit against monsters and vehicles. So they're negating the -1 to hit from the Void Weavers. They're back to hitting on 3s.
Yeah, you have
and
to.
Now they have to invest LFR into that if they want to.
Yeah. Also, having 10 32 mil bases makes blocking out the Void Weaver disembark much easier.
Yep.
So, and that's a way to maximize casualties is to make sure the squad troops aren't getting out unless they want an emergency.
Another thing we talked about was bomb squigs, right?
Ooh.
No, we didn't actually talk about that.
Yeah, like
Well,
was
we should talk
terrible.
about it now.
No, 3 bomb squigs, it's 15 points, once per game, and on average doesn't quite kill a boat.
yeah, it's a
15
2-up.
points to almost kill a boat is 15 points worth
You have to
spending.
get within 12, dude. It's so
That's
bad.
what your army does.
Yeah, you're gonna be within 12 anyway. Like
With
they're
what,
going with the
the
piggies, aren't
pigs?
they? Aren't they?
Oh,
Aren't they a
like,
melee units? Aren't they planning to charge things?
P6 4-up armor, guys.
Lucas,
live.
Lucas, if you're taking pigs, you're planning on getting them within 12 anyway. The pigs don't do anything outside of 12. Literally nothing.
What they're actually planning on doing is hiding behind a piece of terrain for 4 turns.
Yeah, then they come
Okay.
out.
And then they do D3 mortal wounds.
I don't think so, guys. I don't know about this.
I don't think there's any way to. I don't think there's any way to reliably spam bomb squigs, but I think it's a worthwhile upgrade
Sure.
on the
Yeah.
pig.
Matthew Nurgle approves it, so you know it has to be good.
Okay, that's true.
It's just
Never
a
mind.
2-up to do D3 mortals. That's better than nothing.
I'm cutting my
Yeah.
other Ard case to take 3 bomb squigs.
D3 D3 mortals is basically worth 1 CP, right? Like that's sort of the general question is you'll spend a CP to do D3 mortals, right? That's the
Sure.
thing I have in the back of my head at least. Is like that's a thing. So you're basically buying a CP for 5 points. I'd buy a 3 CP for 15 points personally.
Yeah. That's not bad, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
By the
yeah.
way, I went ahead and checked. Custom booster blasters are not the solution. Their flamers are 8-inch range.
Dude,
Also, they're just
there.
regular flamers. They're
Yeah,
just
the
D6
strength
401.
Yeah.
you guys like
Is
2-inch range flamers?
2-inch range flamer, boys.
I think another thing that's really sucks for your list is we talked about Gaz, because Gaz, like, you're paying 100 points to get full rerolls to hit, and you don't get to use them against the Harlequins. And also,
Oh, it feels so
he
bad.
doesn't reliably kill Void Weavers.
I hate it.
It's
Yeah.
sad, but he's so good in like other matchups.
He is. He still is. He still is auto take just because you have to take him to compete with the other ATR armies, which
Yep.
otherwise you have a legit hard game against. You also have to take him to compete with Custodes.
Yeah,
And he also helps
Custodes
you out a ton into Tau. Whenever you actually connect with Tau, if you ever connect with Tau as a Goth, like you kill them very quickly with
Yep.
Gaz nearby.
So I don't know. I've always been very impressed by the Squig Hog boys, and also they hit him harder Mega Knobs whenever they connected with units in our Harlequin, the Orc test games.
Yeah, they're good.
All right. Yeah, so there's some thoughts about what you can try as an orc player. Be more brave than Lucas. Do something stupid. Someone run Max Burners in Battle Wagons. Tell me how it goes.
Take these negatives.
Take
these
these
negatives
negatives. All right. Naj, I know you're jumping ship to go play Harlequins like a coward, but if you were
Correct.
going to be doing the Necron thing right now, what is some interesting, unexpected tech that you might be able to pull out of your bag of tricks of your little silver boys to try to compete? What do you got?
Harlequins, it's tough. We don't really like have any auto hitting guns, so if you want to try to shoot them, which Necrons are not really a range codex to begin with, they're a melee codex with ranged elements. You can. The nice thing is our we have a buff my will be done, right, to give a unit +1 to hit, so we can kind of get around their -1, but like as light, it's like cool, whatever, like hitting on 4s. I think mass attacks is pretty good. I think that's why my list is really bad in the Harlequins. My list is a lot of like low volume, very strong attacks. But it's like, okay, when I'm hitting on like 3s or 4s with no rerolls, and then, I guess I wound on like 2s or 3s, then you save, 2/3 of those. It's not great. Like I've had games where or just like rolling it out, like 5 score packs connect with a boat and they don't kill the boat. It's like, all right, cool, bummer. I think flayed ones, if they can connect, are legitimately good, but it's like, how do they connect? They move 6, and if you declare a charge, they can go and run away with light. I've considered something because Harlequins, as we said, have no auspex. So there's some funny tech with the Night Scythe. You could like start a Night Scythe in Deep Strike, put some choppy melee unit in reserves, strat reserves, and then the Night Scythe Deep Strikes in turn 2, and then the guys get out within 3 of it for a 6-inch charge. And I've played Harlequins like and I've seen people play Harlequins, it's pretty hard to have like one unit screening a flank. There's often like two charge targets.
Yeah.
At least on their strong flanks. They usually ball up. So if I go, cool, I'm out of deep strike, I got 2 units within 6, I'll declare charges on both. Like they can only light one of them, and then they get to charge the other one. So that's something that I've looked at. Just try to like bring a night side so that I can get a 6-inch charge at a deep strike, rather than try to run up the board towards them because the best play of Harlequins and the Necrons is just sit 24 inches away and shoot shoot the Necrons.
What about warriors? How reliably do they squad avoid views? Like
They
one
obliterate them. Their alternate mode is 3d3 blast, strength 5 minus 3, 1 damage.
But like if you get to proc reanimations, is there any hope there?
I mean, they're shooting 27 shots, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. That's
Yeah.
before the shuriken.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I think we did the math, and
I don't think it actually one-shots the squad, but like
if they have the invul, if they have the Chronomancer invul, I don't think they one-shot the squad. But then
the other
second squad avoid
thing is
triggers
like
them.
how much does it matter if they don't want to shot the squad? And they could just try it again next turn after you've spent your
Yeah.
orb.
I don't think it's good. Also, it's like, what are the warriors doing? Shooting, hitting on 4s with no rerolls. Their
They're
best gun is
bailing.
a 12-inch range gun that they need to get within 6 to shoot.
Oh yeah, never mind. No, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
Warriors are good into Custodies. That's the
'Cause, I
only
mean-
SPR matchup they're good into.
6's auto hit is pretty good.
6 is the auto wound, but you need to
Or
be within
6's
6.
auto hit. 6's auto wound is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, I think the best bet is just like a beefy unit and a night scythe. You could also like on player place terrain. We talked about this morning actually. On player place terrain with a center objective, if you get to deploy the first piece of terrain, you could slam down a ruin on the center objective and then just like be in the ruin and be like, cool, come near me and clear me out. Because if the Harlequin player is playing like the 9 Void Weavers and they're not playing the punchy characters, like they have to come around the map to shoot you, and then you can run out and kill them. Or maybe you last long enough that you score more primary. Because the thing is, they can't do the run the troops up and steal an objective from you because your whole army's OPSEC. At least how I play them. So they actually have to come kill your units, and that's how in my like test games against like Harlequins, how I've been able to last long enough is I get a very good primary score, but then they end up tabling me like turn 3 or turn 4, that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't think there's a lot of hope for Necrons in that matchup, but I think it's really just try to bring the threats to them or try to like outlast them, and also like position yourself if you're playing player place. Position your terrain in such a way that they have to get close to you, and then just try to bank the game on like a 8-inch charge or something. Like throw your army into their lines, see if you can connect. The Silent King running into their lines is hilarious because if he dies, you auto explode and just do D6 mortals everywhere around you. So that's like been a legitimate strategy for me. Is just suicide the king into their army.
Yeah, that terrain thing I think is sort of a recurrent theme that I've seen in a lot of places. Harlequins are really good at cutting angles, and they're really good at zipping up and towing a piece of obscuring to see through it. If you can force them to tow a piece of obscuring that is too close to you in order to see you, now you're in business.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked in this show about player place terrain before and how it like really is a possible massive expression of player skill. It's really hard. Like, I think that if you have the opportunity, either on TTS, where you can get the Orc terrain pack, or just at home with whatever you have, because it kind of crosses over, but especially if you have FLG terrain or just know what your place is using, being able to set that up and see exactly what the angles are like is real important. Because it's one of the only tools that we have in our belt right now into Harleys. So,
Also, windowless ruins. If your table happens to have windowless ruins,
yeah,
that's a big
those
deal.
are huge.
Then they have to come around
Something-
behind you, and then the charge is guaranteed.
Yeah, not to derail the terrain conversation, I apologize. Something I have considered is the Void Dragon.
Yeah,
Well,
baby!
that's
Woo!
I don't think he's that great because it's like bringing
No,
in
he's
the
not.
Silent King in your army is like 800 points, which is
Grab my Void Dragon. Put him on camera. Put my Void Dragon on
Alright.
camera.
He's over here.
Do we still have that?
Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
Oh
This
my-
this is Tyler's Void Dragon.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I know. It looks
Sweet
beautiful.
motherfucker. It's everyone's favorite model that Lukas has.
Yeah. So this guy
Come on, bro. Why you doing?
pretty okay at killing vehicles. I mean, he has a 2-up D6 mortal wound smite to a vehicle, and then you could also take antimatter meteor, which is 3-up to do 3 mortals to the closest visible unit. He has a gun that's pretty good at blasting vehicles. I mean, he has to hit. When he gets into melee, you can 2 CP ignore invuls with 5 attacks, hidden on 3s with no rerolls, you know? And he's got D6 little tail attacks that also ignore invuls at AP 2 damage 1. The cool thing about him is when he kills a vehicle, he heals on a 2-up for every vehicle he kills to a maximum of 3 per phase. And this guy can, I don't know, having played Harlequins into Gaz, he's like a legitimate threat you have to like be aware of. You either decide, okay, I'm gonna run away from Gaz this whole game, or I'm just gonna like kill him in 3 phases. The issue is Harlequins are active in a lot of phases. Like if they really want to, they can blast the Shadow Syrup and Mirror Minds this guy, and he probably, oh, there goes 3 wounds, and then they shoot him, and then they charge him.
I hate Mirror of Minds so much.
Yeah,
They also can do Mortals in the charge phase with the Embrace stratagem.
Also
So this guy's not invincible in Harlequins.
No. Not to derail things too much, but like real quick aside, imagine if Catan came out today.
Oh yeah.
How ludicrously oppressive they would have to be.
Yeah.
If they came out at today's power level.
They probably
They'd be like
half 150
points they are right now.
They'd be half the points, and they just automatically do 6 mortals to every unit.
350 points. Ludicrous that
that dude is 20 points more than a Storm Surge.
Yeah.
What the? Come on, G-dubs. Come on.
Ludicrous that they have not gone down in any of the chapter groups. But
they went up. Didn't Nightbringer go up like twice?
Nightbringer went up 20. Yeah, no, the first time, like the first FAQ ever for Necrons, they're like, yeah, he's smashing the kitchen tables. He's going up 20.
I think the more ridiculous thing is the pointing of everything that's come out in the last 4 months.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything's like 20% of their costed.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we're not here to gripe about the current state of the game. We're here to stay positive.
That's a funny little tech that a Harlequin player might have to like think about if you bring it.
Okay.
But, I don't like it.
All right. Are you guys ready for a giant pile of bug nonsense?
Yeah,
sure.
All right. So here's some things you can do. The big piece of bug tech is the Sanctus. Because the Sanctus is a sniper. He automatically hits, so I don't care about your anything. And then on a 4+ to wound, naturally, he does a mortal wound automatically. Okay? So, if you get that mortal, maybe they fail an info, maybe they don't, doesn't matter. But if you get that wound off, one way or another, either by rolling the 4-up, which you will obviously CP for, so only a 75% chance, but like, stay with me for a second. You then can use Neural Disruption, and which you can only use once per target per game. But once per game, you can roll 3 dice, and if you beat, I don't know if it's meet or if it's beat. I think it's beat. Let me double check that really quick, because I don't want to give people the wrong advice. Neural Overload, I called it the wrong thing. If you have to beat their leadership on 3 dice, and then they take perils if they're a psyker, but more importantly, they lose all auras until your next shooting phase.
Okay, let's go.
So,
which aura do you hate?
Oh, I wonder which one. First off, the 6-up Film of Pain goes away, which is really funny. But second off, and more importantly, the 6-inch negative range goes away. So you might not even need to play Bladed Cog if you can pull this off.
Okay, hold on. Clarifying question. Are we talking old NIDs or new NIDs?
Either way.
Okay.
So, if you're playing new NIDs forces, here's the synergy. You cast Synaptic Link Range the Horror, which means it's undeniable, and you put -2 leadership on the Shadow Seer. Now she's lead 7. You need an 8 on 3 dice. Not 3 dice, pick the highest. 3 dice. You need an 8. Likely. You can't CP it, but just try really hard, okay? And also, if it goes off, the perils is like not insignificant because you'll do the mortal wound at minimum. Maybe the damage gets through. She is what, 5 wounds?
Yep,
she's 5 wounds. Yeah.
So she's 5 wounds. So you get 1 from the mortal wound, D3 from the perils, and then also because she's already in synaptic link range, you can't cast like Psychic Scream or anything on her because she'll be screened. You can't smite her. You can cast Neuroparasite on her to do a mortal wound on a 4+, a single mortal wound. So now you're at 1 + 1 + D3 plus maybe damage if she failed her invuln. And then you also take a Keller Morph.
Isn't there also the one mortal from Shadows in the Warp?
Yes, exactly. You're in Shadows in the Warp range, so the perils is D3 + 1.
Yes,
so now you're at 1 + 1 + 1 + D3. So if you pull off the combo on a 3-up, she dies. And her 6-up Feel No Pain aura is gone, so she doesn't get that.
Bye.
We're getting somewhere.
Right.
So maybe you don't play Bladed Cog. Maybe you just set your entire Anyway, maybe you just push all your chips into the center of the table and say, I'm going to get my Neural Disruptor off. You're going to lose the -6-inch range, and I'm going to fire all of my flamers that are... Well, you got to be +1 to wound, so you're not getting the +1 to wound or the bladed cog in the scenario. But anyway, my flamers are going to get their range back, which is hilarious. Or also just turning off the Feel No Pain. Also so that's the thing. So we talked about the Flamer Bomb in Bladed Cog. We talked about the Sanctus. The Kellamorph, similarly, he's 18-inch range. So he can show up at 6 inches away, still be 12-inch range to get all of his shots off. And he won't hit super great, because he'll be hitting on 4s, whatever. It's a shame, but so it goes. If you can get her exposed...
If he's within 12, he hits on Ballistic Skill. There's a light.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, you still hit on 3s.
But I'll just slap a Crossfire token on it from an Exos. So if you're playing mono GSC, he'll hit on 2s.
Yeah, that's true.
Now we're getting places.
Pretty
okay. Good. So he's hitting on 2s now, doing his whole thing. And if he's exposed, he'll be +1 to wound as well. So he'll hit on 2s, wound on 2s.
He also, because he fire and fades after he shows up, he can steal an objective from a boat.
Exactly. He can steal an objective from a boat, or if they don't screen their Solitaires, their Shadow Seer super well, and he can show up outside of 8 while still being within 12. He's 8 away, he shoots, he moves 6, he charges.
Ah.
And now he's forcing a fallback and shoot strat, or if he charges the Shadow Seer and they kill him, he shoots on death. Or even if they don't do that, even if they don't kill, even if you charge boats and then the boats fall back and shoot because they don't want to sit in combat and shoot him, and then he gets shot, he shoots on death. Another chance to potentially kill characters or even just troops.
That's epic.
So there's a lot of fun stuff for GSC in there. Let's talk about new NID stuff though. Obviously, the combo of the perils and the horror and all that is really great. I talked about Spore Mines from Biovores earlier are really great. Here's some juicy tech. You want to take a Tyrannocyte and put 6 Pyrovores in it.
Oh my god. Okay.
You could do the Bladed Cog thing and play Kronos. Kronos is +4-inch range. Do you know what... Oh, look, it's a Tyrannocyte. Amazing. Coming to a table fielded by Colin Sherman near you. Do you know what a Pyrovore does?
It's a heavy flamer 5-wound chunkster.
It's better than a heavy flamer 5-wound chunkster.
Also, it has burning blood, right?
He's got acid blood, but he's got 2 different shooting profiles. He either has burning spray, which is 12-inch range, or if you have Kronos, 16-inch range. Or if you set up the combo with the Sanctus to turn off the -6-inch range, then you're fine. Because this was another great opportunity for that. Assault D6, Strength 6, AP 2, 2 damage.
What the hell? Auto hitting?
Auto hitting.
Pretty good.
3d6 auto hits at 622.
Pretty good.
And I could take 2 squads of them in 1 Tyrannocyte, so 6d6 auto hits at 622.
622 flamer?
We do. Or if I get to shoot at troops, I can use Pyro Gut, which this also works if I don't take Kronos and just go for the if I just go for the Sanctus play and it doesn't work, I have access to Pyro Gut, which is 18-inch range. Assault 2d6 411.
Auto hitting?
Auto hitting.
Yeah, it's Pyro Gut, dude.
Hell?
Here's 12d6 411s.
What the hell is this unit?
Right? How many points do you think they are? They're T5, they're 5 wounds, they have a 3-up armor.
18 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're 30 points a model. They're 30 points a model.
Wait, how many
30.
T5?
So, yeah, compare this to a Mega Knob. They're T5, 5 wounds, 3-up armor.
Oh, score pick. T5, 3 wounds, 3-up armor. 30 points. Okay. Mega Knob, yeah. And then in combat, they have 3 attacks, weapon skill 3 at strength 6, AP 3, 1 damage. Yeah.
And they have both the Acid Maw and Acid Blood keyword. So on the charge, they could each do a mortal on a 3+, or for 2 CP, every time they take a wound, they deal a mortal back on a 4+ to a max of 6.
That's spicy.
So it's like, oh yeah, charge me, Harlequins. I'll do infinite Overwatch, and then you'll take 6 mortal wounds. Cost some CP, but right?
Pretty sick.
Right? So there's
you're buying a Tyrannocyte.
Tyrannocytes are not bad. It's 100 points for a 15 wound model.
But it doesn't do anything else.
It's got a bunch of shots. Maybe it's OBSEC if you're clever. It boops around. It's got fly. It can go back it can return to the shadows.
Wait, how do you give it Oh, with lurk or whatever.
Yeah, with lurk. If you're playing Chronos, you can take obsec monsters. So
How far does it
there's cute
move?
tech there. The Tyrannocyte, that's a great question
Oh,
that I
like
will know the
8?
answer to in 3 seconds. Tyrannocyte is movement 8. That is correct.
Okay.
So it doesn't have the drop pod problem of getting wrapped. 'Cause it has 4.
Yeah, no, it's got fly. It moves 8. It'll get out of there. So that's an interesting idea. You could also you could just start them on the table, right? Like you don't need to alpha these guys in because I think they're both assault. Both profiles are assault, if I'm not mistaken. Let me verify that.
Wait, can they
Yeah, they're
get out
both
after
profiles are
movement?
assault. They're
Yeah, but you
movement
get out
5.
3, you movement 5, the advance.
You don't go into anything. You don't put them in a thing.
I'm confused.
Just start them on the table.
Oh, start the pyrovores on the table.
Start the pyrovores on the table.
Tyrannocyte on
The
the table.
Tyrannocyte has to, it's a drop pod. It has to keep strike.
Like,
Just put these guys on the table and say, hey, if you want to come close to me, here's my massive amounts of shots. They're going to go 5 plus D6.
Are they infantry?
Yeah, they're infantry.
Yeah, so they can just blast through walls. All right.
Yeah.
I guess for 30 points, I keep thinking it's like a big investment unit, but like
it's not. I take 2 of them. It's 180.
They're
180 points for
wounds?
6. They're 5 wounds at toughness 5, 3 up save.
With many transhuman? That's like.
If I'm Leviathan, yeah, mini transhuman.
Oh, okay. That's like pretty damn good.
Yeah. This guy asks if Tyrannocytes have drop pod 2-1 rules. Tyrannocytes do, as do all the living artillery. So Mucolids and Spore Mines also turn 1 deep strike.
Oh, dude, that's
fun
hairy.
fact.
He's saying it had Bray Earth Flamers.
If you take 15 pyrovores, that's 450 points, guys.
You can't do that. You can max take 9, but yeah.
Oh, are they squads of 3?
1 to 3. Yep.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
Oh, believe me, if you could take 15, that'd be real saucy.
Why do you take 9 in like every list?
Because there's so much other nonsense that's broken.
Isn't everything like 20% undercosted? Can't you take all of it?
Basically. But yeah, pyrovores are they're a thing. Consider them. Also hilarious Tyrannid tech is Death Leaper. Because Death Leaper, if he gets into boats and says, surprise, mother clucker, you can't fall back and shoot anymore.
Yeah.
Have fun. And he's -1 to hit 4 up invuln. He's got 7 wounds. He's T5.
Lukas and I looked this up too. I forgot what the result of it was. The vehicle squadron shooting into combat.
It's model by model.
Yeah, it's model by model. So if they like
just
string
like
them
Tab.
out and you touch one of them here, those two can't shoot him back. It's just one wound
no, they
is gonna
can't.
kill him.
Yeah, and he's not gonna do that. It's just not gonna happen. So he's really cute for that. What else is great? Obviously, all the mortal wounds are fantastic. They do mortal wound related things. Obviously, Tyrant Guards still do the Tyrant Guard thing. They're great at that. Warriors hit like a truck, which is excellent. Into Harleys, they're a really great unit that can trade cheaply and be a little bit more durable than they want. A 5-man squad is only 1 CP to -1 damage. And when you're like, hey, here's 15 wounds at full transhuman, 5 up invuln, 5 up field of pain, -1 damage. That's not an easy problem for Harleys to solve at range. That basically necessitates getting involved in melee or all of their guns. And again, like I said, the way to beat Harleys is threat overload on the right, like correctly executed. And that's a great unit to do that with because that unit of 5 dudes has 25 attacks at strength 8 -2/2 damage.
Yeah.
Warriors.
I don't want anything to do with that.
And that unit costs 125 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyranids have the best trading units in the game, and they don't have to trade. I don't understand who thought this was okay. Like, if you just get rid of Encircle the Prey, I think we're still the best book in the game, personally.
Yeah.
Like, you could remove the dumbest thing in the book and Bodyguard. Get rid of Bodyguard, get rid of Encircle the Prey, just make us play the trading game. I think we still kick ass.
Yeah, because you're like Drukari pointed, dude.
Exactly.
You could take 27 warriors and just be like, yeah, lol.
I'm taking more than that. I've got a list that's what, 5x5 and 1x9? 34. 34 seems like the magic number to me.
Can we like write a petition for you and Alex McDougal? I definitely want to send you and Alex to GWHQ next time they write a NIDS Codex. You guys can find the broken things before it gets printed.
Yeah, isn't this funny? Nick and I were talking about this. It took you like 2 days to find all the broken stuff that they couldn't play test.
And there's more. There's so much more that we haven't found
Well,
yet.
like, you just talked about Pyrovores. You didn't talk about that at all in our, like, 2.5-hour episode last week. This is the first time I've heard about these things.
Yeah, okay, so there's a giant pile of wacky Nid stuff. The mortal wounds are also great into them. I didn't mention this.
Yeah.
Like, if you're shooting into bikes or you're shooting into troops, so they're not -1 to hit and you're just hitting on your 4s, Biovores will just pick stuff up real quick. Mines are great.
Come back in 4 weeks when we talk about how to be Nid.
Yeah, exactly. I'll try and figure it out.
Well,
anyway,
a real Nid player.
Cool. So it sounds like next weekend I'm probably playing Town, Nick's probably playing Harlequins, Lukas is probably playing Orcs. All of that is subject to change. Maybe Lukas will have a change of heart and go play some S tier army like Necrons or something.
Yeah.
Wait, Lukas, do you have a Custodes army ready to go? Is that a thing you guys have in the house?
It's a 3D printed, unpainted piece of crap.
But we do have an airbrush.
So that sounds like yes to me. Because you have an airbrush and gold paint.
I wouldn't have fun.
You wouldn't have fun?
So I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, cool.
We do have this T-Suns army that Lucas is 100% win rate.
He's undefeated in tournaments with it.
You get wrecked, nerds.
Yeah, so that's
didn't
such
play
a big
me.
step
That would have
up.
been your one loss, dude.
If there's one thing Lukas doesn't know, it's how to deal with orcs. I'll tell you that much.
Especially the list I've could build, dude. Wow.
Alrighty. That's about all that we've got time for today. We've been going 90 minutes. We thought this was going to be a quick one. Anyway, so check back in. Do you guys have any other last thoughts before I wrap this up?
If you're in the Northwest, come to Tau Tipping or I'll be angry with you.
Yeah, come to Tau Tipping, come to Badger. They're going to be great tournaments. We're going to be there.
Yeah.
Come chat with us. We'd love to talk about these armies or anything else.
And if you bring Tau, I'm going to try to tip you over, so watch out.
Yes, every player who does bring Tau to Tau Tipping is liable to being just forcibly shoved. Yeah. Oops. Cool. So come to those tournaments. Come check it out. As a reminder, the battle reports, the bit reps from this past weekend are coming up this week. You're not going to want to miss those. Make sure to jump into that YouTube membership if you want to catch the super exciting, very technical games. We'll talk more in the future. I'm sure we'll mention more about that once we know what's going on. If you'd like to talk more with us and you don't happen to live near one of those events, $10 a month joins the Patreon-only Discord, where all three of us are available basically 24/7. We don't sleep. We don't talk to anybody else. We just play Warhammer. So that's a great option if you want to get in and get a little bit more out of it. With that all being said and done, my name has been Tyler.
I've been Nick.
And I'm Lukas.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks for the tournament recap of a lifetime. Take care, y'all.
Later, dudes.